Alright guys, the GDC LRs have returned on these Black Friday banners. We have a Dokkan Festival one and also a legendary summonable banner as well. The other thing we're going to be doing in this video is asking two of the most requested questions right now around the GDC LRs and the Black Friday banners of should you summon and who you should pick up with coins. One thing I want to quickly say first though is Dokkan, these exploding thanks packs are a tad bit expensive. The first one being $3.99 is fine, but then once you get up to pack 2 and 3, we're looking at $19.99 and then $32.99, where all in all, to get all of these tickets and all of these packs, you are spending well over £50, probably higher than that in other currencies, to do not even full 7-unit multis or 10-unit multis, it's 5-unit multis. So while they're not bad if you don't want to spend your stones, do you really want to be dropping over £50 to £60, dollars, etc. on picking up these tickets? And with items such as turtle shells, link skill orbs, and then also statues and kais? I don't think so. To me, that's a little bit steep. Dokkan, you might want to rethink your prices just a little bit. But in terms of the banners, both of them are stacked. Both of them have tons of value. Starting with the Dokkan Fest banner, we have the Blue Boys, or primarily Blue Goku, considering that is the unit you're going to use the majority of when you use this unit as a whole. Unfortunately, Jeets, as much as I love you, you're not as good as the Goku. Guard, dodge, solid damage output. Both have pretty good active skills as well, but Goku's has more source and probably a little bit more damage when it comes to using the Vegito Blue active, and also still has a very solid active skill even a few months later. Future Saga Fuse Fighters with a 200%, the additional going to Bond of Parent and Child and Final Trump card, and probably one of the better superclass releases this year, alongside another unit on the opposite banner, and still goes on quite a lot of the best superclass teams in the game right now. So you are going to be getting a ton of usage out of this guy if you were to pick him up with coins or if you were to summon. Next to him, more of the same. One of the best units I said came out of 2025. At this moment in time, that goes to LR Goma. And at one point in time, again until LR Goma, one of the best extreme class characters to come out of this year. Unfortunately, he's moved to second, but it's a close second at that. And that is the Dokkan Fest Omega. Fantastic leader skill all in all. He's leading units like Dokkan Fest Baby. You know, you have the super easy A for both Rose and also Strength Omega. The free-to-play easy A's on Nova and Shadow Dragons. A place for Dokkan Fest Rose to go on to as well. Or Carnival LR Rose, shall I say. He leads some of the better extreme units in the entire game. And all he's done since release is just gotten better and better and better, and he isn't going to get any worse or age too dramatically anytime soon. His fall off still way in the distance. Has a great domain that lead, as I said, a lot of the best extreme units in the game, does great amounts of damage, great unit that leads so many good units. Omega's almost a complete package, and as I said, has no fall off anytime soon and can kind of compete in any current content we have. Then we have both 10th anniversary LRs, and they're kind of in the same boat. I mean, I say kind of, they are in the same boat. Obviously nowhere near as good as they used to be when they dropped during the 10th anniversary or even a couple months prior. That's obvious. A unit is just going to age. And you know, if you get very unlucky with facing some enemies in this game, if they get locked, it's curtains. If they don't get enough stacks, it can really hurt the unit. However, if you're in mid to obviously long content like Festival of Battles, they are literally the pinnacle. They are units you want on your team, guaranteed. Mid content, not as good, but can still get a good showing in with enough stacks. Once you use the fusions, Vegito and Gogeta can still cook. There's still not a lot in the game that touches them. Obviously, they're not invulnerable like they used to be. They can take some damage, but nothing's killing them like that, especially during their respective active skill rotations, and they're still two of the best combination active rotations going in the whole game. You pop Vegito's active skill you're doing a ton of damage with the counters, the crit counters, the super attacks, especially next to a Gogeta with his active skill pops, with him doing a ton of damage as well, and having some of the best support in the game that, of course, he can give to pretty much every unit in the game, which is still a big help, even all these months later. And they still go on very strong categories regardless, with some of the better superclass units in the entire game, and still have some solid leads. So as I said, while they're not as good as they used to be, of course, they are still good. You can still get some usability out of them. Just unfortunately, with some of the content we have right now, if you get very unfortunate with RNG, they can become a little bit of a flight risk. But once you fuse them, you should be good to go. These guys have no place. Unfortunately, a really cool unit with great animations. They have no place to go right now. They have no place to call home. ET doesn't have a home. Put your finger down. There's no point pointing at the sky. There's nowhere for you to go, unfortunately. This unit is just waiting for an easy A at this point, and that's still a long way out. Broly has aged probably one of the better aging units in the last couple years. This guy I thought was going to fall off. Then we got so much extreme love in the last year or so that this guy has stayed relevant. Again, just like the 10th anniversary LRs, is he as good as he was on release? Of course not. The game has had like 2-3 power curves since then, but Broly has still managed to stay relevant. One of the reasons, of course, the extreme units not getting as much love as superclass units, of course, within that last year, and maybe a little bit longer than that, that's kind of changed. But Broly still has some usability. Maybe not in every form of content. Maybe in some stages and phases you do kind of have to not hide him, but protect him a little bit. But the fact he still gets usability all this time later, I think shows how good he's aged. Has a pretty solid domain himself. Of course, can overlap them, can use it very early on, especially for running dual Brolys. His damage might have fallen off quite a bit, but I mean, again, with the power curves we've experienced, we now do 40-50 million almost as a baseline. So, of course, his damage isn't going to be up there. But in terms of what he can do, just as like a team protector ability with the revival, the domain, etc., and just overall tanking with damage reduction, he's still a very good unit, especially partnered up with Carnival LR Broly and other units that can go on his team, and especially with the help of like units from 2025, Broly's still somewhat usable. Easy A Vegeta and Trunks, very good Easy A. Of course, they're just very suited to long form content. You could probably get some usage out of mid content, which we kind of have now. It's kind of between short and slightly mid. You know, you're looking at like turn 5, 6, 8 at a push, if we're being completely honest. But a good Easy A, as I said, they're just crafted for long form content. They're amazing for Festival of Battles, especially because they stack everyone else's SA as well, or attack and defense as well on their SA effect. Probably one of the best effects and abilities we've ever had in the game. Just suited to long form content, which isn't their fault. The Easy A for SSJ4 Gogeta, he's still an amazing Easy A, goes on 2 of the better categories in the game with GT Heroes and Giant Ape Power, is surrounded by some of the best category units in the game. He's still a fantastic Easy A and does a ton of damage, got a counter in him. Overall, he's just a very good Easy A. Both SSJ4 Easy A's, Goku's good. SSJ4 Vegeta, he's in some scenarios can be good, but for the most of the time, he's okay. It pains me to say it, but he's just okay. And that's it for the Dokkan Fest banner. Moving on to the Carnival LR banner, we have Rose. Immediately a fantastic Carnival LR that came out of GDC. Of course, Super Bosses upon release wasn't that great. Has gotten a bit better since. Still not a fantastic category, definitely better than it was. And a unit that has benefited from a Mega Shenron's category getting better and better. Slots onto that team so well, especially with his Super Easy A AGL counterpart. Works really well with a Mega, especially under the domain when you run 2. Works really well on that team in general. There's a lot of support flowing through that team. Overall, he's just a very good unit. He's also been a great addition to Dokkan Fest Baby's team. Helps Dokkan Fest Baby with the Corroded Body and Mind units. Even Corroded Body and Mind as a team overall is a lot better than it was, even just prior to Dokkan Fest Baby's release. But great unit, does good damage, great defensively, can still go in slot 1, can move anywhere in the rotation if need be. 2 great active skills, whether you want more damage from Zamasu, even though you will be using Rose more often than not, just like the Blue Boys when it comes to Goku and Vegeta. But 2 great active skills. I said if you want to prioritize damage, go for Zamasu's. It can be a game-winning active skill, or you can use Rose, still get good damage out of it, but then you're getting support on other units as well. So a great unit goes hand in hand with a Mega Shenron. SSJ4 Gogeta has to be probably one of the peakest releases we have gotten this year, and that is in the same year as Daima being finally put into the game with serious content. Like SSJ4 Mini Goku and #1 in the game right now, LR Goma. Still very good. Still very, very good. Counter, tons of damage, does a ton of super attacks as well. So that damage, especially with crits, is just absolutely annihilating most of the enemies in the game. Also another unit that does go on 2 of the better categories in the entire game itself, with GT Heroes and Giant 8 Power, especially with that continuing to grow, with Daima SSJ4 Mini Goku being added to the game, and then hopefully soon, for the 11th anniversary, SSJ4 Adult Goku, and then of course with him, even though it's irrelevant to Gogeta, SSJ3 Adult Vegeta. Dokkan, please make it happen. But yeah, overall just a very, very good unit, very strong active skill as well. And more of the same for Carnival LR SSJ4 Goku. Another unit that, of course, is being affected by time, which naturally is just going to happen. A unit that released during the 10th anniversary between January and February, of course, is just not going to be as good as he was on release, all the way now near the end of November going into December. So while he is still a pretty good unit, he does have some slight vulnerabilities. Him and SSJ3, he does have dodge, which is great. You know, you can save his Giant Ape transformation, which probably more often than not, you're not going to want to do because you want to transform him ASAP, make him better ASAP, get that insane support out ASAP, and get him stacking. When it comes to long form content, that stacking is great. He can be very good in Festival of Battles. He can still get some great usage because of his baseline once you transform into SSJ4 in the mid form content we currently have. As I said, he's just a little bit more vulnerable compared to what he used to be. But that Power Beyond the Super Saiyan support, that Giant 8 Power support, that extra damage reduction, that ton of defense support you get is just so good. Especially now with SSJ4 Mini Goku being able to benefit from it. This guy here, like Carnival LR SSJ4 Gogeta benefiting from it. Both Super Easy A's SSJ4s benefiting from it. A ton of fantastic units benefit from his support, including the Year 7 Gods, the Year 7 SSJ4s. So many top tier units benefit from some of the best support in the game, and that's only can continue to happen again eventually when we get SSJ4 Adult Daima Goku and Adult SSJ3 Daima Vegeta as well. And then not only that as well, with SSJ4 Mini Goku being added to Dokkan, you can combine both of their support. They can easily work off of each other with their support flowing through the team and the rotations. It's just a great setup. Then we have SSBE, who is actually, funnily enough, one of the only 10th anniversary units I do not have at this point. And while I do kind of want to pick him up with coins or get him myself, because #1, it's a Jeets. #1, I do kind of have a soft spot for SSBE just because I think it looks cool. I know it's not a great transformation because it's just blue but darker, but I just overall prefer the look. I think it looks sick. However, quite a polarizing release and kind of just gone by the wayside if we're being completely honest. As much as it pains me to say because it's a Jeets. Yeah, you turn back and look at me. I'm talking about you right now. He wasn't bad on release. He just wasn't great. And of course, of how good both the Vegeta and Gogeta were, there was a standard, and aside from Carnival LR SSJ4, a lot of them just kind of fell below that standard, and SSB just kind of fell a little bit too far. You know, does have the potential to be good within a rotation, but you're relying on so much RNG when it comes to his super attacks happening, that more often than not, he will normal additional about 4 or 5 times in a row, and that would end up getting him killed. Now, the unit super attack with UI was pretty sick, but that's not really going to save a unit, is it? So as much as it pains me to say, probably one of the most doo-doo units on this entire list and banners, and has the least amount of value, even though I love you, but it has to be said, it's called Tough Love. SSJ2 Gohan, again, a lot of people said was kind of under that standard that dropped during the 10th anniversary. He was pretty good. Now, again, you're not getting too much use out of him. I mean, I've got a little bit use out of him recently, purely for missions, and I haven't found him to be an issue whatsoever. However, I do think compared to a lot of other these units between both banners, you know, Mega Shenron, Rose, the Blue Boys, SSJ4 Gogeta, even the 10th anniversary headliners like Vegeta and Gogeta, there are so many better units on this banner and also the Dokkan Fest banner, that while Gohan isn't necessarily bad, he's not really great either. Definitely better than SSBE. But I said there's just so much better value that the only usage I really get out of this Gohan right now, even though I did get him late, I just want to say that now, the only usage I only ever get out of him at the moment is missions where I need a full power lead to combine units together to make the best possible team if I need to complete a mission in like Red Zone or something like that, or a unit that belongs to a certain category that maybe I don't have the units for, and he's just there to fill out a slot. I said I'm not necessarily calling him bad, but I said he's just not necessarily great neither. And then one of the final units on this banner, actually no it's not, we have quite a few to go, is the Go Frieza. I'm not gonna lie, I don't use this unit a whole bunch. I really wish they did a bit better with this unit overall when they released, just because of the moment it takes from. But again, just kind of similar to Gohan, if I could even say worse than Gohan. I only use this unit when I need to. If I need to use a Battle of Fate lead and I need to kind of put a mishmash of a team together to use the best possible units, I'm probably using this. If I don't have to, I won't. If there's a category where this unit can go on to the team and make the team a bit better, essentially again they're only filling a slot, I do think this unit can be okay defensively. Frieza's obviously based on if you get rainbow orbs when you're below a certain threshold. I just don't really use this unit anymore. Like, they're okay. Again, just like Gohan, they're not terrible, but they're not great neither. They're just kind of meh. Carnival LR Broly, just like his Dokkan Fest counterpart, is a unit that has aged extremely well. You know, whether that's running him on the Dokkan Fest Ints lead under dual domains, which I know you're not going to do too much in 2025, but of course benefits a lot from it. The stacking on attack, he can build up a lot of damage pretty quickly, even though it's only an 18 key SA effect. Defensively, even though you need to put him in slot 1, again, he still works. Sure, at this point he's taking more damage in slot 1, but he still more than holds his own. He goes on a lot of other categories as well where you can get some pretty good usage out of him. But all in all, he has been a fantastically aged unit. Again, just like the Dokkan Fest counterpart. You know, running him on movie bosses with Golden Frieza, running him with the new Rathul Broly or newer Rathul Broly, you can then make the most out of him and make some usage on more Superclass based teams, primarily because they're Saiyans. You know, he's had some pretty good longevity. I know some of us may not use him too much now, but when I've needed to use him, or when and where I've needed to use him, he's still held his own. He's still been pretty good. And another one of these units that have aged really well. As I said, him and the Dokkan Fest, they've done really well to hold their own throughout 2025. And still a pretty useful unit right now currently in the game when you need to use him. The Gohan is a unit that, again, funnily enough, just like SSBE, I don't actually have. I think you could still get some use out of him if you need him, especially on certain categories, especially on certain runs, especially with the finish skill and collecting the Dragon Balls and the amount of damage this unit can do. I mean, overall, I can't say too much about him because, I mean, I don't have him. So again, I haven't really had the need to use him because I can't use him. But I mean, as I said, you could probably get some use out of him. I think out of the, it's kind of crazy to say this because it weren't that long ago, but out of the old worldwide format, I think this is probably one of the worst units to get, or the worst units to pick up compared to the Brolys. But he's not a bad unit. Again, I think it just kind of falls under that same umbrella of SSJ2, Gohan, and Go Frieza of, he's not bad, but he's not great, so he's just kind of meh. But again, I mean, we're comparing him to a lot of fantastic units that have a ton of value on this banner, like Broly, like the Carnival LRs from GDC. So, you know, that's not necessarily his fault. We have Fusion Zamasu, whose EZA was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Love his EZA. Love what Dokkan did with him. You're mainly, of course, going to run him with other Rosés. You know, the Super EZA, etc. Outside of that, I'll be honest, while he does have some okay categories to go on, I haven't really used him anywhere else. I mean, you can make the most of him out of somewhere else, but you'd have to probably isolate him on a rotation with another Rosé unit. So while he is a great EZA, quite confined, a little bit restricted, That's not because of his passive per se. That's just because typically of the units you're going to run him next to. But still a great easy A regardless. We have SSJ2 Gohan, who's another great easy A that did drop, does a ton of damage as well. Really, really good. Goes on a lot of great superclass base teams like movie heroes, which does need a little bit of help. Hybrid Saiyans, of course, has the Int LR Gohan, Trunks, and Goten. You know, we have categories here as well, like Bond of Parent and Child, which have been buffed by, funny enough, some of the units that are on both these banners. Earthbred Fighters, Demonic Power recently as well, with SSJ4 Mini Goku, Earth Protecting Heroes. He's just an overall very good, very solid easy A, and that winds out the Carnival LR banner. So again, a lot of fantastic units, some not so much, but there's only a handful of units on here that I would say don't really carry hardly, if any, value. But between the banners, has a lot of great units, a lot of value. I could see why you would want to summon. I could see why it'd be a struggle to pick up units with coins. So now, to answer both your questions, number one, should you summon? I, even after all of that, would say no. We are currently near the end of November. In a couple months' time, we're in anniversary territory. We're going to have the 11th anniversary. There is speculation upon speculation of who the headlining units could be. A lot of people are leaning towards SSJ4 Adult Daima Goku and SSJ3 Adult Daima Vegeta. Some are leaning towards Gogetas, Vegetos. Regardless of what they do, with it naturally being an 11th anniversary, with it being an anniversary, the units, whoever they pick, are going to be gas. They might not be the choice you want most, but they're going to be sick. They're going to be hype. They're going to have some of the best animations in the game. A new possible mechanic, because the anniversary always does one, is probably going to be insanely strong, and they're going to be the best units in the game for at least 6 months plus, no matter what. So I would say at this point, you need to start saving your stones. I need to take my own advice, only sitting on 23. So I would say save your stones. The only way you want to spend stones on this game is one or two ways. You spend money, by all means, go for it if you want some of these units, especially if you need multiple. The second one being, you have a ton of stones already. And again, you're missing a lot of these units. You want to pull for them, go for it. But at the end of the day, if you want to summon on these Black Friday banners, go for it. It's entirely up to you. Dokkan is a single player game. You can listen to me, you can heed my advice, you don't have to take it. In terms of who you pick up with coins, you have some fantastic options. And I know not everyone is going to have coins upon coins upon coins, just absolute coinage to drop on multiple of these LRs. So I'm going to make a short list just because there isn't no definitive one. The thing that I always say with these kinds of videos is pick up the unit you do not have, who you can make the most use out of, or who you want the most. That is, first and foremost, the first bit of advice I could give you. Go with the unit you don't have, who you need or want the most, because that is going to make you the most happy. Second, if we're going purely off value and usage, again, the one you do not have who is the best out of the bunch, so we're talking Blue Goku, we're talking Omega Shenron, we're then talking... Let's go over to the Carnival LRs. We're talking Rose, and we're talking SSJ4 Gogeta. Those are probably the 4 best between both the Dokkan Fest and the Carnival LR banner. If you do not have one of them, pick the best one out of those 4. If I had to pick one from each, I would probably go with Mega Shenron, and then over here, I'd probably go with Gogeta. If you have one of the other, go with Blue Goku or go with Rose. If you have multiple coins, of course, use them on multiple of those units. Outside of those units, if you then turn around and specifically say, which probably won't be overly a load of you, that, oh, I have those 4 already. Again, go with the next best. If you don't have Vegeto, go with Vegeto. If you don't have Gogeta, go with Gogeta. If we're starting to get a little bit older here, I'd probably go with one of the Super Easy A's or the Gogeta, just because they're not on banners too often. And the same with the Carnival LR banner. Go with Goku. Go with, to be fair, the Carnival LR banner is a little bit easier just because SB and Gohan and Go Frieza aren't great. Go with SSJ4 Goku. If you don't have him, I'd actually probably say save your teal coins at that point, just for someone a bit more recent, just for someone you can get more value out of, just because outside of Rose and Gogeta and then Carnival SSJ4 Goku, the value does kind of dip off quite a bit, and you don't really need these units down here all too much. But that is my opinion at the end of the day. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to take it. But if you decide to listen to it and you decide to summon on the banners, regardless of what you do, let me know who you picked up with your coins. Let me know if you summoned, and let me know who you got down below. And while you're down there as well, consider hitting the like button. Subscribe if you're new. All the support is very much appreciated. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.